Hello and welcome everyone, it's Shanna. I'm so glad you're here. Now today's video is one in which I'm using some older stash again. I've been doing that recently on my channel. And I'm using last year's Christmas, and this is a Simon Hurley product. And it is called Classic Christmas Trees. And it has 14 cutting dies in it. And you've got a layered Christmas tree with some gifts. And it's a really pretty set. So I think I've only worked with it once last year. I'm also going to bring in this Christmas sentiment set. You guys have been watching me use this a bunch. I really like it. This is new this year, so we're mixing up old and new. This is by Lisa Horton, and it is a really neat layering Christmas, and you have some extra things that you can stamp. Now, while I was showing you the product, I remembered that I did not cut this piece out here. I have all of my pieces cut and ready to go in a little work tray. And when I was looking at that, I thought, I never did die cut out the trunk of the tree. Now here I'm taking a lint roller and just picking up the little scraps of paper that was on my magnetic sheet there from previous die cuttings. And I'm going to lay this on some brown cardstock, and we're going to get the trunk of the tree and the limbs cut out. And I have all of the other pieces ready to go. I just put all my dies away, and I didn't cut out the trunk of the tree. So there we go. And you can see it's really an interesting looking tree. I mean, you could use that in and of itself for a wintry scene where we've lost all of the leaves to our tree. You could use that for that. So this is pretty versatile. There is also a top piece of the layer that you could use with one of your skinnier dies and make a smaller tree as well. So I'm going to do some ink blending, and I've sped this up. I'm basically taking forest moss and rubbing it all over the green, and I'm using my ground espresso ink on the brown, and I'm just putting some of that moss on there again. And then I'm going to go ahead and move on to my pine needles, and it'll add a little bit of darker color on there. What I'm doing is just trying to have some variation of color in my tree here. And so I'm just going to ink blend. I'm also going to add some shading to my packages. So I've got my little packages there, and I'm just blending them up. And like I said, I've sped this up because it's pretty repetitive, and I'm just laying some ink down on them. I even put some on my sentiment there. And I'm bringing in, this frame is going to be one of the layering panels on my card base. And I'm using that ground espresso. Actually, vintage photo, I think, is what I'm using for this to darken it up. I don't know, I had 3 different browns there. And so last time I did this on my channel, I did kind of a pink and a teal tree. And it was interesting. But I actually laid the trunk part. I had die cut the trunk part out in some different colors, and I actually laid it on top. And I kind of got called on that. Someone said, you've layered that up wrong, which the colors that I used, I don't, you could layer it any way you wanted to, but we're going to layer it up correctly today, and hopefully it will satisfy everyone. And put it on the kind of the background layer of the tree, which is what is laying there on the desk. And I'm getting plenty of glue on this, so it's taking a minute to get it all glued up, but we're just going to get it laid down on our base of our tree. And then we'll bring in those other 3 layers and layer them over the top of the limbs. And it'll just add some interesting dimension and just make the tree more interesting. Now, I am taking my cues from the packaging on this. I kind of did similar colors and just kind of followed similarly to how they did the tree on the packaging. Sometimes when you're out of inspiration, you can do that. Now, I am laying these down on here to get an idea of where I want to lay them on, but I will show you once I get them glued down on there. There is like a little notch in the top of this layer where you piece the other layer, and then the same on the next layer. So there's a little notch there where it helps you to line them up. And I'll actually show that to you once I get it glued down. And I'm having a hard time getting this little leaf here on the corner to stick down. So this is where I've realized there's a nice little notch there, and we're just going to lay it down in there. And I will tell you, my fingers are green with ink. And I did all the ink blending and I had to leave and go get Gunner at the preschool. And when I got to the preschool, I looked down, and my 3 of my fingers and my thumb were just pretty greened up, and I thought it was funny. I think you can see the green on there. And I was like, oh, I hope nobody saw my hand. They'd think that I was extremely dirty because, I mean, my fingers were pretty green. And I actually tried to clean them off a little bit, so they were kind of stained, which usually you can wipe off oxide pretty well. But anyway, so I'm going to take one of the stars that I die cut out and put it on the top of our tree here. And I'm just trying to get it lined up exactly how I want it. So today their Grammy, that she's been doing the school duty these days, was sick. And so we got a phone call last night that we were going to have to do the taking to school and the picking up from school. And, of course, Gunny only goes a half day, so got him to school and then got him picked up. So I basically did the ink blending and the die cutting while he was at school, and then I had to stop and then go get him. And I could have had it all done, except I did run to Hobby Lobby in between that time because I didn't have any green cardstock that I wanted to use for this. And so I picked up some, actually it was a holiday 8.5 by 11 paper pack, and it had the reds and the greens in it. And so that is what I'm using on here. I've ran myself out of my Spellbinders green. I think I only have the peridot now, but anyway, I've got to get some stuff ordered. So I had put that base of that tree on there upside down. I don't know if you noticed while I was talking. And I was like, what am I doing? And luckily I thought of it, figured it out before it dried, so I was able to very quickly, when I brought that second piece in is when I realized you've layered this wrong. And so I quickly fixed it. And now I'm just putting some dots of glue down on here because I have several little burgundy red ornaments that are die cut out. You've got some ornaments that are like the old school that kind of have the pointy top and the pointy bottom, and then some circle ones, and then some triangle pieces. And I've put far more dots of glue on there than I had of bulbs. And so I'll have to do some die cutting and bring in some additional bulbs for this because I've got too many glue spots on there. I didn't count them. I just took my glue and made a little glue dot where I wanted to have an ornament. So I'm just picking all of these out of here. And I'm trying to put different shapes beside each other, so that's why I'm kind of wandering around the tree. Now here's where I'm like, okay, let's bring some more sparkle into this and use this gold paper that I have here, and I'm just going to die cut out just a couple of them. I think I do the kind of the oval ones and then the circle ones, and we're going to die cut those out, and we'll have some more ornaments to add to our tree. So we'll just quickly go to the die cutting machine and run it through, and now we've got several more pieces that we can work with, and they're stuck. And I just painted my nails and I don't want to mess them up, so I'm just rolling them off of this. I used my gel polish and painted them at home, and it was actually kind of thick, and so they're thicker than they should be and not quite as smooth as they should be, but I need to order some more if I'm going to continue to do it at home because what I have has thickened up, and I don't know if you can thin it out or not. Anyway, so I'm going to get the rest of these gold bulbs laid down on here, and I think it'll just add to the shine of this. And I think this is a really pretty tree. I think you could make multiples of this. It's not too terribly hard. So I've got my cinnamon in there, and then I've also got the ribbon and the bows for my packages, and some extra stars that are in there. So I'm going to put the lid on the package, and then I'm going to realize that I glued it in the wrong direction. So I'm going to wipe that off and glue it in the other direction. And we'll get our box lid on top of our box. And I'm lining this one up kind of low, and then the next one I'll line up, the next one that's shaped like this, I'll line it up higher, and then it will make it look like a different size box. So just by moving that lid, you can kind of change the sizes of your packages. Now the ribbon is a little bit long here, and I'm going to snip it off and put it back in the little tray there in case I need it for some additional packages, because I die cut out more than just one set of packages. I die cut out two. I just wanted the two different colors. And so we're going to have 4 packages on our card. I know normally you do things in 3s or whatever, but I thought I'm going to do it with 4 and just kind of fill in. So this is the ribbon for the tall skinny package. And they've got some nice detail on them. The packages do. And so we'll bring in a bow for it. And we have 2 types of bow. You've got like a scallopy one, and then you just have a regular bow. We're going to put the regular bow on this. Just getting that bow lined up how I want it. And then we're going to have another tall package. So I'm going to get the gold ribbon for it, and we'll get it laid down on there. So Pat is feeling better, and he is out working today, and he's doing his customers' leaves and yard work, and it will probably be his last official visit with his customers because we've moved into winter. We did have snow this week, but it has melted, and he's able to work, and it is actually a beautiful sunny day today. So if you don't like the weather in Indiana, you just wait a day and it changes. So we'll get the lid on this one, and this is where I kind of position it higher, and we'll make it just a little bit of a taller box. You can see I moved it up. And so that'll give us just another sized box, just so we have some variety. Just trying to get it lined up right. And I've got another ribbon in there. And we're going to get it laid down on our package. And I think I've got another bow that I'm going to use. I put a star on that other green package and the packaging on the die set actually shows a star on that green one as well. So I did pretty much follow the design that was on the packaging. Sometimes when you just don't have an idea, you do that. Now I am going to make this, you know, I did ink blend the panels for the card base. So this is going to kind of be a little rustic or vintagey type Christmas card. Now here I've got some remaining pieces of cardstock that I'm punching out of the Christmas sentiment there. And we'll just get it glued up and get it laid down. And I really like this sentiment. I've said it before. I just like that it has 3 layers. Now you can use 1, you can use 2, or you can use 3. They'll, you know, it'll work together like that. Just going to get it lined up and give it a good press. And we're just going to lay that aside for now. I'm going to clean up my mess, and we're going to start assembling this card. So here are my card bases, and you know, these are the ones I've inked up. And I have die cut my packages and my bulbs out of this burgundy, but we're going to use it because you guys know I like to gut my cardstock and make the most of it, just to be economical. And I'm going to try and lay this down here. And I'm like, this is not lining up. I think I even measured on the glass board. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I look at it. This is just a stray panel. I haven't figured it out yet. That I had laying on my desk where I had laid my cardstock. And I was like, that's not even my card base. So there I grabbed my card base, and then we'll get this lined up on there. And it'll fit a little bit better. We've got a tiny little piece sticking out. I've got to rearrange it. There we go. Now we've got it's lined up better. And then we're just going to bring in a green layer and cover up that white space. And then we're going to bring in another kraft and the remnants of that burgundy colored paper that I had. I only had one piece of that, so I was trying to make the most of it so I could use it for a layer and die cut out my ornaments and my packages. And so that's what we've got. And we're just going to layer this kraft piece over it and cover up all the little holes that are there. And no one will ever know. So I'm going to layer this craft piece on top of the wine-colored piece. And then we'll get it laid down on our card base, and we'll have somewhere to put our Christmas tree. Well, Pat's back home, and I had to relocate to a different room because he was in there making noise. Anyway, so let's see. We're going to put some foam on the back of this panel. And so, see, I mean, there's just absolutely no reason not to use this panel that has, multiple die cut pieces out, because this foam is going to completely take care of that situation. There won't be any sagging or anything like that. And I'm just got 3 large strips there, and I got this larger strip roll from Hobby Lobby. Whenever I'm there, I try to pick up theirs. I didn't buy any this time because I already had some, but I like that kind of wider one. And then they have, the narrow ones as well, but I just get it wherever I can pick it up cheap. A lot of times I'll buy it from the Dollar Tree. Had a little corner of the white showing there, so I'm just going to trim it off. And then we can get our panel laid down on there. And I think it just is kind of the panels just look kind of vintage or moody. And I think it is just kind of a neat vintage look for this tree. And the bulbs were kind of old school looking anyway, so I think it's going to work out nice. So we're just going to glue this up and lay our tree directly down on there. And I think it's really pretty. And so we'll start adding our packages now. And I'm just going to decide where I'm going to stick what. And I'll pop up some of them and tuck some other ones in and just add some glue to it. And we'll have our Christmas tree with our presents. Now, have any of you put up your Christmas tree yet? Comment in the comment box below and let me know. I have not yet. However, I have wanted to. My youngest daughter has some of her trees up already, and I think my older daughter is working on it as well. I would like to, but I'm hosting Thanksgiving, so I probably need to wait. And I may have asked this in another video. I feel like I've had this conversation, but anyway, I can't wait to get it up. I'm excited and I'm ready. I've shopped a couple times at Hobby Lobby and looked at the Christmas stuff, and I keep telling myself, no, wait until you get your stuff out and see what you need before you purchase anything. So I'm anxious to get it out and then to see if there's anything new that I need for this season. So now on the packaging, they only show 3 gifts, and normally you would set things down in 3s, but I decided I wanted 4 packages, 2 of each, and so I'm just going to figure out how I'm going to lay them down on here. And we're going to pop this one up as well. Now, I've got that Christmas sentiment all assembled and ready to go there, but I'm thinking I don't want to cover up my tree and my scene. And so I'm just kind of eyeballing it here, and I'm thinking it's going to go on the inside. So I'm going to take the stamp set that goes with this set, and I'm going to stamp out all of the greetings that are there on that same green cardstock that we used for our tree. And I'm going to stamp them all out, and we will heat emboss them so that I'll have more ready, because I do have all these cards that need sentiments on the inside. So I'm going to have ample opportunity to use all of these. So I'm going to bring in my Memento Black ink, and we're going to stamp this up, and we're going to heat emboss it. I think I bring in my anti-static powder tool, yeah, and just rub that across there before we give it a press. And I'll ink it and press it a couple times just to get a really good coverage of ink. I've had this ink pad for a while, but I have re-inked it, so I feel like it should be decent. So there we go. We've got all of our sentiments, and we've got an extra Christmas there. So that's nice. So you can just add it to, because all of these kind of go along with the word Christmas. They don't really finish a sentence. So you kind of need the Christmas to go with it. And we're just going to get this powdered up, and then we can heat emboss it. So I just like to powder it up several times. So I'm just going to go back and forth over it, flick it off, and then I'll do it again. I just want to make sure I get good coverage. So I'll just keep going until I feel like everything's covered really well. And you can just see that embossing ink picking, when it picks up the powder. So we'll get this put away, and we've got our tool heated up, and we're just going to get this embossed. So I hope you've been enjoying me bringing in some older product. Now, I will tell you, it all is still available in the shop, so you can still get this product if you're interested in it, and you can likely pick it up maybe cheaper than we did last year. So I'm just fanning it, just making sure it's good and cool before I put this dye on there and mess up anything. And I've got a little piece of washi tape on there I'm going to pull off, and we'll get this laid down on there. And then I'm going to bring some washi tape in to hold it down so it doesn't shift on me. It seems like, and this is just my own observation, that when I use the Empress, they shift more than they did on the Platinum 6. And I don't know why, but I never had shifting problems when I used the Platinum 6, but I do here, so I typically will tape them down. And you actually have a magnet there too, so I don't know if it's user error or what, but anyway, so I'm going to find a sentiment to go with this card, and we'll put it on the inside of our card. So before I do that, I'm going to take my personalized stamp, and I'm going to stamp it on the back of the card. And then we'll put our sentiment on the inside of the card, and then this one will be completely finished. So it'll be one less that I will have to stamp the insides of. Daria and I were talking about when we're going to do that, because she has several that needs to be done as well. So we may do that on a live. Our live times are changing, and once we get it figured out what they are, I'll let everyone know. So we'll get this laid down on there, and that'll pretty much finish off our card. And I think it looks really pretty. Like I said, it's kind of a moody, vintage looking card, and I like it. So I'm going to bring in a video of it and just kind of zoom in on it so that you can take a close-up look at it. I hope you like it. If you do, give me a thumbs up.